The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome back to the Star Sport podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Mangan, and I'm joined today by Star Sport reporter Seán Holland. On this week's podcast, we'll be joined by Goleen captain Padraig Reidy, who led his side to victory in the County Confined Junior B Football Championship in Páirc Uí Rinn on Saturday. It was Goleen's first win at the 5th time of asking in recent years. So Padraig was in great form when chatting to Seán, and we'll hear from him in just a little while. The Star Sport podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose Credit Union, choose local, choose community. Now, Seán, I mentioned that Padraig Reidy was in great form, but you were in great form yourself over the weekend as well. You were at Croker on Sunday to witness Cork's brilliant performance as they got into the All-Ireland hurling final at the expense of Limerick. For those living under a rock, Cork won 128 to 29 points. And Seán, what a game it was. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to be there in the stadium?
Oh, it was something else, Dylan. Just the atmosphere alone, just taking the result out of it, the atmosphere alone was something that's incredibly unique to people in this country. I know we don't have the benefit of having an Irish soccer team in the Euros, and we're lucky to have the GA over the summer, but a sellout crowd in Croke Park there for an All-Ireland semi-final, you really can't beat it. And Sunday was no different. Just the colour around the place, the red and green jerseys, everyone was in flying form. But there was almost like a sneaky suspicion that Cork would overturn them. Obviously, they beat him in the Munster Championship, but to beat a Limerick team like that 2 times in the same year is fairly tough. As we've seen, they've won 4 in a row. So just to get over the line was something incredible for the Cork team, and now they're facing into an All-Ireland final, and it's all about getting the job done now in Sunday week.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And on the day itself, you have a great piece in this week's Southern Star just talking about why you were looking forward to this week more than most in terms of work. And you weren't in the press box at all in Croke Park. You were on the hill. So what was that like being in amongst the crowd?
Oh, it was something else. Yeah, I know. As you're referring to there, I'm sitting right next to a Limerick man, and Limerick has been very quiet up until 2018, but they've gotten more and more loud with their team success, and rightfully so too. You gotta get behind your own, but it was a nice one to get over Limerick, and especially for me, I don't have to be listening to Tony here in our digital team talk about Limerick the whole time. He was fairly confident that we had our day in Páirc Uí Rinn, but we had our day in Croke Park too. But even the experience in the hill, now granted, it's compared to the Hogan stand or even the press box, as you mentioned, it's not the greatest view, but the atmosphere is something else. Just everyone inside there is living and pucking every ball, and it was like that from minute one. Walking up to Jones's Road, there was just the crowds were phenomenal. Just the weather was fairly poor leading up to it, but it cleared out throughout the day. But you couldn't stem the atmosphere and the anticipation for the game. Like it was incredibly unique. Nothing I've experienced. It was pretty much brought me back to 2018 when Cork were last at that stage. I know we were in the All-Ireland final in 2021, but when it was a half-capacity stadium, it just didn't have that feel to it. Now, when you had everyone there, it was just incredible. And Cork obviously started fairly well, and the Brian Hayes goal was a massive boost. Geez, the noise even from the crowd when that ball hit the net was something surreal. But Limerick came back into it as all good champions do, and everyone was kind of expecting Limerick to come back into it, and they did. And then when you got to half time, you're kind of saying to yourself and you're saying to the guys around you, it's like, we were up 5 thereafter going up 2 now at half time. Did we have our moment? Is our chance gone? But in fairness to the lads in the team, and whatever was said at half time, they came out in that second half and they were a completely different team, and they blew Limerick away in that third quarter. They scored 10 points from 10 shots in their opening, 10 shots in the second half. And at the end of the third quarter, Cork actually had won it 13 points to 5. And that gave us that buffer then heading into the final quarter, which they really needed. Because as we all know, in 2018, Cork were up 6 points as well, heading into the final stages of the game. And Limerick eventually clawed their way back into it and won it after extra time. So when it went from 6 to 5 to 4, 3 down to 2, you're kind of saying, oh no, not again. But thankfully, Limerick pucked a couple of their final shots wide. And when that final whistle blew, it was something else. Just even the scenes around the place. I don't think many Cork fans went for the exit door straight away. They just lapped it up. I know most people in the hill that were wearing red lapped it up to Franken Walters, and hopefully we're hearing that same music again in a fortnight's time.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to me a little bit about some of the individual performances from Cork here, because while obviously the team is what got Cork over the line, there were a couple of players who really stood out. Like Patrick Holland in goal was incredible. He's one person that comes to mind, but who else kind of brought Cork or drove Cork through to the end?
Well, I know it's cliche, but it was a team performance. Cork are synonymous with making switches early into the second half, because they have that ability to bring on top class players like Shane Kingston and Robbie O'Flynn, Ger Melrick, Tommy O'Connell, Luke Mead, they've so many names off the bench that they can rely on that are nearly as good as the lads starting. But just the performance from 1 to 15 was incredible, that they didn't have to make those subs till really late on when lads were tiring, because like you look at the whole forward line, there was no fella pucked under 3 points, which even in these high scoring games is nearly kind of unheard of. It's normally one fella doing the damage, but there was just this equal spread of scores across the Cork forward line, which really helped the confidence in the team, and it really helped push Cork on. And then, as you mentioned, Patrick Collins was phenomenal. Like it's not often you see a Limerick team, not scoring a goal, and he made 2 vital saves. I know the one that he took just under his armpit against Aaron Goleen. Like he had no regard for his body jumping out to that. He knew that he was going to get that one in the body, and he was going to wake up Monday morning with a bruise on the side of his body. But he doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He's in All-Ireland final. But even that score, 10 minutes into the second half, when he stopped Garrod Hagerty's shot and the ball made its way back out to Decky Dalton from about 70 metres out and put it straight between the posts, that gave the crowd such a lift in what would typically be a moment that you would say Limerick, oh, they have a goal here, they're back in the game. It was a moment that swung the whole momentum of the game and pretty much put Cork in the driving seat. And they didn't relinquish that lead until the referee blew the whistle, and All-Ireland final, here we come.
Yeah, and before we look forward to the All-Ireland final, just finally on that game, how much did Cork's mentality help them there? Because it's an easy thing to say, but it did kind of feel like Cork wanted it more. I know Limerick obviously would have wanted it just as much, but it kind of felt watching it that Cork just had that extra inch in the kind of the really, really important moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Limerick's game and how they've got to this point and how they've succeeded in winning the last 4 All-Irelands, it's been their work rate, and as you said, their mentality. It's just keep going, don't give your man an inch. And Cork bettered them in that facet, because everyone knows Cork have the ability. We've always had skillful hurlers. We've always had fast lads, but they matched them in those physicality stakes. And then once you're matching a team like Limerick there, your hurling can take over. And that's exactly what Cork's hurling did. And eventually, we know the rest. 2-point winners, and it's on to Clare now.
Yeah, Clare on the 21st of July. And look, we'll have plenty of build up to that. We'll be talking about it on the podcast, I'm sure. But very quickly, are Cork favourites now, or Clare? They have a lot to prove as well. This is an opportunity for them and their own kind of redemption story in a sense as well. And they might be thinking, geez, like, thank God it's not Limerick again, you know.
Mm-hmm. There could be an aspect of that as well, that Clare might prefer to play Cork. But just looking at the performances alone, the way Cork have come on since actually losing to Clare in that second Munster Championship game, they look like the better team. They're going in as the bookmakers' favourites. I don't know how the favourite tag might affect them, going into an All-Ireland final. And they didn't have that in 2021. They were ranked underdogs. So now they're going in, and people at Cork are expecting him to do so. But even talking with Pat Ryan there during the week, he's keeping everyone grounded. It's on to the next one, and it's a great mentality to have, and you can see that shift. And even Niall O'Leary mentioned when we were talking to him that in 2021, when even they were in the parade, that a lot of the players were looking up at the stands and kind of almost nearly overawed in that experience and situation. So now that they have a lot of the same players in the same situation, you'd have to fancy Cork, being in that right frame of mind to know that the job's not done. Sunday in a fortnight's time, there's an All-Ireland up for grabs there, and there's a chance to end that 19-year wait.
Yeah, the countdown starts now. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be back in just a moment to hear from Goleen captain Padraig Reidy.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast. Now, Sean, there is a saying, everything good comes to those who wait, and Goleen's 8-year wait, encompassing 4 county final defeats, finally came to an end in Páirc Uí Rinn on Saturday evening when they landed the confined Junior B football title at the 5th time of asking. You caught up with Captain Padraig Reidy this week, and I saw some videos from Goleen on Saturday evening. They looked like they were having a great time, and I'm sure Padraig was as well.
Yeah, like as you said, good things come to those who wait. The Goleen lads lost 4 county finals. That is in itself heartbreaking, and the decision was made by the team to stay in Junior B because they could have gone back up to Junior A based off them winning the Junior B West Cork Championship last year. So they knew they had unfinished business, and they came into the season with a plan. And to be fair to the final, they didn't really face any real close games that would have prepared them for the final. And they knew all about a close game against Ballyphehane. That same side only lost Plunkets last year, who are now up in Junior A by the bare minimum. So they knew they were in for a tough battle, and what it was, 9-9 going into extra time. Even Goleen were leading all the way and got pegged back pretty much with one of the last kicks of the game. So another team, you could say, might crumble under that pressure. They come into extra time and be like, oh no, not again. But in fairness to the lads, they dug deep and they got their just rewards, and it's more than they deserve, from years of heartbreak. And then Padraig was overjoyed with the win, and it's great for the team like Goleen coming from such a small community, but it means so much to that small community as well, and it's fantastic for them. Right now, I'm delighted to be joined by the victorious captain of the Goleen Junior B footballers, Padraig Reidy. Padraig, how are you keeping?
I'm not too bad now after that weekend. A great weekend for our parish, and we were delighted to finally get over the line. I suppose you can kind of nearly tell from my voice that it was a great weekend down west because it's nearly gone. But no, there was a lot of heartache and stuff over the years going up to Páirc Uí Rinn, but it was great to finally get over the line. I mean, we had been to, that was our 5th final now in the last 5 years, so we'd lost the previous 4, and I don't know if we'd gone back playing football if we had lost another one, but we were delighted to finally get over that line and bring a bit of silverware back west.
Fantastic. And as you mentioned there, the celebrations went on a while. It's Wednesday now when we're talking. Did you knock Tuesday out of it?
We actually had a league game last night, so
Okay, fair enough.
we played Kilmean last night because we had to play that to be in contention to get promoted. So we won that. So I'd say we might have won the league as well. So hopefully, but we had a few more drinks after that last night. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend all around. In fairness, just a great little parish. You know, traveled so well to all the different games and everything. So it was lovely to bring it back and give them a bit of joy around the place as well. You know.
Exactly. And even just speaking on it there, having lost 4 finals, obviously that brings with its own heartache. So kind of like describe your emotions at full time there for even just yourself personally and then the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with having lost the 4 finals, it's a long road back to Goleen from Páirc Uí Rinn without any trophies. So it was, you know, it was nearly just sheer relief to finally get over the line at the end of the whistle. But James McCarthy there from Castlehaven told us last year that those 20 seconds after a full time whistle in a county final, if your team's after winning, there's nothing quite like it. You couldn't buy that. But yeah, those are memories that we'll take to the grave with us. It was an amazing day now, in fairness, and something we've been striving towards for a long time. And I think that the bit of maturity in the group now the last couple of years paid dividends in the end the last day. But yeah, it was a great feeling, especially to do with such a close knit team. You know, you'd be mad for everyone on the team. It's a small parish. There's only a handful of players in it. We have no underage structure or anything like that. So to win something with your local team is there's no better feeling than that.
I'd imagine so. And just, Padraig, take us back to maybe like the end of last year, losing out in the county final, and then just knowing that from winning the West Cork, you could have gone into Junior A. So describe for us what and how the decision was made. Was it ye as players, or was it management? Was it people in the club who decided that you'd give this another crack to try and win the county?
Yeah, no, in fairness, it was quick enough after the county final last week to make that decision. I think it was the next Tuesday. I think the final might have been on the Sunday, so it was a quick turnaround to make that decision. All right, but no, in fairness, the committee and the management left it up to the players, and we just felt we had unfinished business in the grade. To be honest, we'd have been disappointed in ourselves if we hadn't won a county, having been so close so often, and hopefully now with the county in the back pocket, it will give us more of a springboard going up to Junior A next year, and that bit of experience is no harm for a couple of the younger players, you know. So yeah, it was a player's decision in the end, and you know we were delighted to. And it was a fairly unanimous decision as well. We kind of all were in the same opinion that we'd give it one more crack.
And that she did. And just moving on from that, then looking at this year. Realistically, you weren't really challenged till you got to the final. You know, just going by results wise, you are a good bit stronger than all your opposition. So, kind of talk me through the final itself. You know, you're going against Ballyphehane there. You saw last year Plunkett's only barely got over the line against them as well, so you knew you were in for a battle. So, just talk me through the day and even the game itself, how it was for you personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I suppose leading into the final, we probably played a couple of teams that were in our kind of a developmental stage there, Glengarriff and Durst, like young players, just you know, in that transitional period. So, but I suppose we had decided at the start of the year that we were going to use the Division 2 league as a good springboard in between the championship as well. You know, so there were some tough games against Junior A teams in that, and they kind of helped us prepare as well for the league or for the county final. And yeah, on the day itself, yeah, we knew we were in for a tough battle. Ballyphehane actually beat us by a point in the group phase of the county last year, so we knew what they were about, and they were just after coming off a league final win the previous Sunday, so they had a bit of momentum going into it as well. Like, but and look, we got off to a good start. We should have had more scores in the first half. we left a lot behind us. I'd say we had something like 12 wides in the game. So if our scoring was a bit better on the day, hopefully we could have won by a bit more. But look, the main thing is we got over the line in the end. And you know, with the management we have and everything, they have you confident going into a county final anyway. You know, they'd have you well prepared, homework done, and everything. So look, we were quietly confident going into it, but saying that we knew we were up for a one all merciful battle against Ballyphehane, absolutely. And themselves, they've been to 3 county finals now in 3 years as well. So you know, it could have gone either way in the end. You know,
And it could, especially when it went to extra time. And just put me in your shoes there, Dave, after getting a late equaliser. Are you kind of saying, "Oh no, not again"? Do you know, or was there kind of was there a confidence amongst the group there heading into that final 20 minutes?
there definitely was a small bit of a oh no, not again. That's for sure. You know, having conceded the free at the very end, we actually kept the ball for nearly 3 minutes, I'd say, before just working it back and across, and we had 2 shots at the end, and one was blocked down, the other one just wide. But yeah, a free kick they got towards at the very probably one of the last kicks of the game went over. But look, we knew we had the fitness done all year, running in Barley Cove all February, March, and just you know the correct training and stuff done beforehand. So we knew we had the fitness to push on in extra time. And thankfully in the first half we rattled off a couple of scores with the wind. Probably could have got a couple more, the shooting let us down again, and then we knew that we just shut up shop and see the game out in the second half of extra time. But yeah, you mean when you have the good system in place, like you'll be confident that if we just stick to our guns, stick to what we've been doing all year, that hopefully it'll get us over the line in the end, and thankfully it did.
Fair play to you. And just even you spoke about those 20 seconds afterwards, but as you had more time then to process it, how did it feel to walk up those steps, you know, and lift the trophy on behalf of the team?
Look, it was a massive honor for myself, but there's so many leaders and such a great bunch of lads. You know, it was an electric feeling completely, and you know, you're surrounded by all of your parish there, up in the stands with you. And no, it was a beautiful moment now, in fairness, and one that we'll definitely cherish for a long time to come.
And in terms of speeches or anything, did you have anything prepared, or was it off the cuff?
I had a couple of things that I knew I wanted to say, and the rest of it, the inner teacher was coming out in me, and you plumos away. But Erno, like, I suppose one of the main things we just wanted to highlight was the fact that we lost one of our biggest supporters during the year there, Laura O'Mara from O'Mara's Bar in Goleen. But so we just wanted to remember her. But thankfully she was there with us, and she probably got us over the line in extra time. But look, there's so many people that we had to thank. The speech probably went on for too long, but there's so many people that put so much work into Goleen J that, you know, you could be there for the next year thanking people. But we're so grateful as a team of players to have everyone do what they do for us, and you know, it wouldn't be possible for us to play only for them. So we were just grateful for everybody.
Of course. No, it's a community effort down there, and just
the
ability then to bring the cup back. Did you come back down on the bus, or did you travel by car, or how did the team go back to Goleen?
We travelled by car. We had gone by bus a couple of times to a county final, and you know, when you're not used to going by bus and you go to cars every game, we kind of just decided we'd go by car. So we kind of stopped for food on the way down, and then when we got into Goleen, there was bonfires, and the place was absolutely mobbed with people. It was an unbelievably great night now, in fairness, and just great to bring it back to the local parish and give them a bit of a boost, and just be able to celebrate with them, because it meant as much to everyone else there as it did to the team. So we were just delighted we could finally bring it back to them.
Of course. And as you spoke there at the start on about a league game on Tuesday, I'd imagine they probably wasn't training Sunday morning, was there?
Definitely not. No. There were some tired bodies now yesterday, right? But as soon as the ball was thrown up, you kind of forget about that and you go again. But no, we were delighted to get over the line in that as well. So that puts us into up the top in the Division 2. So hopefully that's promotion for us now as well. But yeah, it was a great weekend.
Fantastic. And just finally for you, Padraig,
Yeah.
speaking on that, getting promotion to Division 1 and then coming into Junior A next year. So what is the new goal for Goleen, so to say?
The new goal. I don't know. We haven't really sat down and talked about that now yet, but I suppose there's a long bit of this season to go. Always, I suppose the next thing we're focusing on is trying to retain our Southwest County that we won last year. So to be nice to give that another rattle and have a good go at it. And I suppose then at the start of next year we'll have the Munster to focus on. So to be nice to give that. There's not too many opportunities you get to play Munster. So we'd like to give that a bit of a rattle as well. And I suppose we'll just regroup and decide on goals as for next year later on in the season. But our immediate goal is to try and compete in the West Cork Championship again and hopefully get over the line in small bit more silverware there would be our next ambition.
You wouldn't say no to saying another speech.
It'll be shorter this time.
That's super. Listen, Padraig, I appreciate you taking the time for joining us, and all the best for the rest of the year.
Thanks a million, Sean. Thanks for having us.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
There is plenty to look forward to in this week's Southern Star, which is in shops and online via our e-paper right now as you're listening to this. So like we said earlier, Goleen had a glory day on Saturday, and you can read all about it in this week's Southern Star. So there's a great photo of them on the front page of this week's paper alongside full match report inside and some other reports there as well from Banner Day for Goleen. In this week's Southern Star, John Hayes is also talking about football and the issues that it has. He says that it needs to be a more attractive option for kids with so many sports on offer. Football is probably a little bit down the popularity stakes for kids with soccer, with hurling, with rugby, especially in Cork. So John takes a look at how football can be a little bit more popular. As Sean said earlier, there was brilliant scenes in Croker last week. He had a great colour piece, a great report on his experience in the Hill on Sunday, but there's also plenty more in there. We hear from Patrick Horgan, there's a match report as well, and we also hear from Cork hurling manager Pat Ryan on a brilliant day for Cork hurling. The Cork ladies footballers have also surged into an All-Ireland semi-final showdown with Galway. They beat Waterford 117-2-4 at the weekend. A brilliant performance from them. We have a match report from Ger McCarthy in this week's Southern Star, and we also take a quick look forward to the semi-final lineup. Like I said, they'll be playing Galway, and it'll be a big weekend as that is on the same weekend as the All-Ireland hurling final as well. In this week's Star, we also have plenty of match reports from local GAA games. So Clonakilty are going up as league champions. They captured the Division 2 league title after extra time against St. Michael's at the weekend. There's also plenty of reports from around West Cork GAA as well. We're also continuing our Olympics 2024 coverage, and that coverage is brought to you in partnership with Cork County Council. And in this week's Southern Star, we take a look at two of the stars who are on the way to Paris, Nicola Tuttle and Phil Healy, who showed their class in front of a home crowd at the Cork City Sports recently. So we have a report from that as well. There's plenty else in there. There's plenty of road bowling, West Cork soccer and motorsport as always as well. So pick up a copy of this week's Southern Star to enjoy all of that and more. It's in shops, like I said, right now and online via our e-paper. If you're further afield and you can't make it to the shops, it's the perfect way to read the Southern Star. So just head to subscribe.southernstar.ie, enter your details, and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week. As always, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast, and thanks again to our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back again next week. Thank you for listening.